Good night, Papua New Guinea, and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Scene. It's always great to have your company. I'm Elijah Levitt, and I'm joined by the one and only Dini Rose Raiko. Dini, how's it going?
It's going great.
Awesome. Now we have a massive show lined up for you. We have some boxing, some rugby league, some updates on the international rugby league, and of course the Foru Cup. But apart from that, let's take a look at what we also have in store for you tonight.
Now we begin with Port Moresby Corporate Slow Pitch, which saw the last round of games for this season on Saturday at the Bicini Diamonds. Now the playoffs will be held this weekend.
It was a top-ladder clash between the first and second place teams in the competition, Oil Search and Adarana. An exciting game it was despite the hot and windy Port Moresby weather conditions. Even a home run ended in style for Oil Search. The progressive innings of the game itself saw Oil Search proving too good for Adarana team, with the umpire calling the game at 7-5 scoreline in favour of Oil Search. And that win now allows them to retain their top spot in Division 1. While CASA players forfeited NAC Jets as they did not have the numbers to field. This weekend's meet will see top 4 in both Divisions 1 and 2 head into elimination rounds.
The POM Corporate Slow Pitch has been going on for almost 2-3 years now, and it's good to see different corporate houses and the people working there actually going out and playing. It's actually fun. I've actually gone to cover that as well. And
it's getting competitive.
And I hope that we can probably take part in that as well. But Dini, what do you think of POM Corporate Softball?
Yeah, look, it's a great, just like any other corporate games out there. It's basically for networking purposes, but it's even just like a volleyball. Softball slow pitch has become very, very competitive. Just last weekend I was out there at the slow pitch and there was a few injuries. It became a little too competitive for corporate sports. Anyway, so it's getting to a stage where all these teams are trying to stay in competition because eliminations are coming up next weekend. Well, actually this weekend, yes. Yeah. This weekend, so in the next few weeks or so we'll see much less number of teams out there trying to win the grand finals. So we'll be going out there to check out the finals as it nears the finals.
Awesome. And then we wish all the teams who are in the finals or in the finals playoff all the best. We'll head out for a few short messages now and we'll be back with more of Sports Scene.
Welcome back. You're watching Sports Scene. Now moving on to boxing. For the first time this year, Marksman Fight Promotions took to Australia 8 amateur and professional fighters, including 3-time champion and PNG champion Jonathan Tuhi, for a Sydney showdown that took place a week ago.
Now, Marksman Fight Promotions manager Michael John says taking the players overseas was not about making the fighters become world champions, but rather give the fighters the exposure and experience they need, and at the same time secure promoters who are willing to take on board raw Papua New Guinea talents.
first to enter the ring and for the first time was Ruben Kamu, who fought in the 64 kg division. The not-so-experienced Kama threw missed punches to his opponent from Australia, who had much more experience over Kama. The fight didn't go in favour of Kama despite completing all 3 rounds. The second bout for PNG saw David Naneth fight his Australian opponent Ben Thompson in the 69 kg division. David's opponent had the upper hand with height advantage, had easy access to pocket free jabs and kicks, but that didn't stop Nane, who equally despite his height managed to also punch back despite near misses. While Nane finished the entire round, the win was awarded to his Australian opponent Ben Thompson.
This la fight Morven and Blomi this is 2 experience. I'm good la fight there. I was I'm the long blood fight man too. So me feel this la fight Blomi is good. Now me finish the round. So thank you for the whole management along Australia Sydney all organizing me long.
The only boxing fight put on by the PNG fighter was Alex Warokop, who completed all his rounds in the 70 kg, and despite putting on a good fight, the win was awarded to his Australian opponent.
Experience me stop out for 4 years. Injuries making me stop out 4 years, and last year was first time me step inside the ring. I'm first time me do me 10 professional boxing inside Loyal Australia, so I want to big sandi inside lo career me boxing career me 10 professional inside Loyal Australia, so me talk thank you lo Marksman Fight Promotion lo give me this opportunity na I mean one something become me experience and me discipline yesterday I'm like big sandi me talk thank you lo Marksman Fight Promotion EMTV to lo follow up lo story me play lack of one plus something when me looking at boys last day. People give him good challenge role, but people no work follow up long like time people like give him good kicks or punch. People no follow up because I'm come back again lo training people or something when people look yeah. People go back and lo Papua New Guinea people need lo work long fight. It's always a loser and a winner. So me talk thank you lo this la lose me too last day. I mean, we no lose lo knockout, but we complete the rounds. So we talk thank you lo Marksman Fight Promotion.
While PNG's John Ake fought his 76 kg division against the Australian opponent Dion Beattie. Coming back from retirement and taking on PNG's Mark Sondo in the 80 kg weight division was Chris Johnson, the white sniper, who was a former opponent of headhunter Stanley Nandex. Sondo took off to a good start in the first round, throwing equal jabs while restricting his lower body. Johnson, the white sniper, came on strong with heavy jabs and kicks, but Mark held on to block all punches. Despite Sondo's best efforts to win the match for PNG, Johnson, the white sniper, who played a dirty game on the ring, brought down Mark to the floor. But after standing up, Mark couldn't take the fight anymore due to medical reasons. In the end, the fight was awarded to Chris Johnson, the white sniper.
Just want to take this opportunity to thank Michael John and Mark Sondo for bringing these fantastic fighters out. The hassles we had to get everything sorted out, it all came through. At the end of the day, I cannot be any prouder on their performance, on their attitude, how they live here, their training. I just can't speak any highly of them. And talking to some of my colleagues and some of the other trainers from here, they're very keen to go over to Papua New Guinea and assist Mark and Michael to put on a show.
Now we hope to do Australia versus Papua New Guinea, or Papua New Guinea versus the rest of the world, and a big team coming from Australia if we can overcome some of the hurdles that we have to face, whether it's with immigration or certain issues. But even myself, I love the Papua New Guinean fighters. They have a lot of heart, and I was they never back down. They're always always got heart, you know, which is, I think, the most important thing in a fight. I was very impressed with Mark Sando's performance tonight. I didn't know he was such a good boxer. I'll liaise with the Papua New Guinea president, Stan, Headhunter, work together to put on a big show for for Australia and the rest of the world to see Papua New Guinean fighters. So it'll be really great. I was there recently, and I was very happy with the performance there, and it'll be good to see more of it. And hopefully Steve will come with me next time as well with an Australian team. And yeah, all the best to the Papua New Guineans.
Manager Michael Jones says the boys are now looking forward to hosting a rematch here in Port Moresby, where both the Australian and New Zealand fighters are to come back and compete.
I know you have had your ideas about PNG, but I can tell you, you won't be disappointed. There's so much raw talent out there, and we'd like to expose. Some of them couldn't make it to these shows every year, even though we attend. But I can tell you, there's raw talent out there that this Marksman Fight Promotions is giving them the opportunity. And most of our guys who attend the shows are mostly youths who are unemployed in the streets, and we give them another phase in life. Some of them cannot be doctors, most cannot be engineers, just because they do not have formal education. But through kickboxing and the Marksman Fight Promotions, we're supporting youth, social development through sports, and I'd like to see some of them make their way with their names through Marksman Promotions in kickboxing.
Just to see you walk into a room, across the room, just to see you walk. You sure did smell good. You really impressed me. I know I'ma say some things. I know you gon' say some things.
We'll go for a break now, and on the other side, we take a look at the Oceania Rugby Cup tournament. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Sports Scene. Now moving on to Rugby Union. The past week has been a festival of rugby in the nation's capital, with Oceania Rugby and PNG Football Rugby Union hosting the Oceania Cup. Now the home side PNG Pukpuks proved their 3-year absence didn't deter nor weather their performance in the region. Now the men stamped their authority as a force in the Oceania Rugby after recording 2 wins from 2 games.
The national side was against newcomers in the regional 15 circle, Nauru in the second match of round 1. The PNG Football Stadium, the field of choice. It was a test for both teams, PNG coming in after a 3-year absence and new faces in the Oceania Rugby Nauru. The stakes were high for the two teams who both wanted to prove their worth. The Pukpuks set the pace from the first whistle, relishing their speed on the back of strong runs up front. The might and experience of local boys was too much for the visitors as they succumbed to bitter defeat, 89 points to 5. In the second match, the Puk-Puks faced Niue. They came off a close fourth match against Solomon Islands in their encounter in round 1. The Puk-Puks knew this one wasn't going to be easy. The big pack from Niue was hard to crack in the middle, muscling a slimmer PNG outfit. The game was brutal until midway first half as injury hit the Puk-Puks, leaving left centre Tisa Kautu stretched off the field. Coming in for Kautu, outside back Emil Latu Mahina proved to be the team's lucky charm, crossing over in the corner on the 30th minute. The game was swaying towards the man in black, and at the back end of the second half, the Puk-Puks piling a couple more tries to seal sweet victory. The points, 29-10.
Really happy that we had an opportunity to play a very technical side. They're very strong at the set pieces, which we struggled at the start, and I think we tried to play the way we played on Friday, try to score at every phase. So it was a bit hard for us at the start, but at the second half, I think the guys knew what we had to do, and it was good they actually put their hand up and did the work they needed to make sure we got the win in the end. But it was pleasing how they finished off too. Showed our game fitness was at least strong at the end, and the challenge for us was quite big. We knew it. We knew coming into this game would be a good challenge, and thank you to Niue for bringing a top game too. Yeah, we're confident going into the last game. This was a big game. This was a challenge. We knew it was going to be up for it because they're all based overseas in Australia and New Zealand. So we know what the technical type of game they play, but our boys are not used to this type of game. We play differently. We play loose. So this was a big one that we got out of our belt, and we'll fix the little things we need to for Saturday's game.
Really proud of our performance. We come together last week, first time together, trained as a group, and just the progression we came with and the way we've developed it the last couple of days, I couldn't ask for anything more. So we're really proud of our boys' effort. Yeah.
Your boys were strong in the beginning. What went wrong in the middle?
I think just a bit of conditioning at the back end and a couple of injuries to our bench boys, injuries that happen. And really caught us on a back foot. So, and that's when I think PNG got a bit of a roll on from there with their speed and their capabilities to get off the ground really quick. So, yeah, conditioning's a major thing. I think coming to PNG and boys not used to the conditions and actually being at that next level of fitness is a massive learning for us moving forward. So, if once we get our conditioning right and that, I think we'll be a lot more of a threat moving forward in years to come.
And still on the Oceania Cup, from the top performing teams in this year's tournament to the lowest, Nauru, despite being the new faces in the tournament and conceding close to 200 points at the hands of their opponents in their 2 matches, are grateful for the experience.
Certainly not the result we would have wanted, but we had a few goals for the team coming into this game. We thought we could have competed a little bit harder, made the game a little bit closer in terms of the result. But all in all, it's a learning game for us. It's our second game as a national side, and hopefully we take the next step for the next game against Niue.
You competed well during the games. A few opportunities gone begging there. Do you think you could have done better in that area?
Yeah, certainly. Those are the areas we will look at. We'll go back to the video and see how we can improve that. The boys are certainly keen to improve their game individually. But as a team, I would like them to perform better as a team, communicate better. Maybe that was partly what we lacked during the game. We didn't start off communicating, but as the game went on, communication started and the defensive line started working together.
You talked about taking back something. What are those areas that you see that stood out in your game today?
Of course, I think we would take out what we learned as the forwards, how they move. I think given that the forwards will lay the platform for the game, we did not lay as well a platform as we should have.
Yes, Dini, the PNG Pukpuks dominant in the Foru Cup. Nauru, new inclusions into this year's tournament and are grateful for the experience. What they said, like 200 points is a little too much, but yeah. I'm pretty sure they took out some positives out of this tournament.
Yeah, look, even from the two dominating teams, Solomon Islands and PNG, one thing both teams can agree on is that those wins were not exactly walk in the park for them. The teams actually, first match came and went, they learned a few things and then they came back a little, more stronger in the second match there, but it's understandable. Nauru is a new team and PNG has been in this for so long, except that, of course, they were on a 3-year break. They're now back, and I think our boys are hungry for some 15s, so it's good to see them going out there and getting those wins for us.
So that was the Foru Cup over the weekend. We'll head out for a few short messages, and we'll be back with more Sports Scene.
Welcome back. You're watching Sports Scene. Now moving on to some hockey. The Port Moresby Hockey Association continued into their seniors hockey tournament following the juniors comp held the previous weekend. Now this time there was a total of 13 teams who took to the turf, including 2 junior teams that emerged from the juniors competition.
We have 13 teams, 7 men and 6 women teams playing. We have the senior 1 teams, the senior 2, the elite 1 and 2 teams, and the junior 1s and the development juniors as well. We had a separate tournament last week, which was for the juniors, because in past times we used to just throw them into the pool in a competition, open competition, and they always ended up on the back foot. So now we ran their own competition, so we get the best out from juniors to actually compete with the seniors, which has turned out actually very well. They're actually competitive now with the senior teams in this competition. Because the concept of the Big Blue, we usually refer to the turf here as the Big Blue. We use it as the ocean, so we named most of our teams, because we play in NCD, we gave the names back to the Central Province. So we came up with 7 names, which are the Masters, which are Taguma, the senior 1 team, the Whites, with Varimoro, and then there's the senior 2s, which we gave them Udalaru, and then there's Inauga, the elite team, Inauga, with Tariva, and then there's the junior teams, Dai and Manahara.
Tournament Director Selwyn Tamur says with the purpose of selecting a side to represent Port Moresby in the championship next month. Both competitions, that's the junior comp which was held the previous weekend, along with the seniors tournament, has actually produced some desired outcomes, especially with the junior teams.
It's actually competitive in this level of competition with the seniors, compared to previous years where they used to lose by a larger margin.
The 3-day competition ended on Monday, and a final squad for the championship will be put together in the coming weeks. Although for now, the dates for the championship are yet to be confirmed.
Yeah, Dini, the NCD Hockey Association usually produces some really top hockey players in the country, and the NCD Senior Hockey, competition, they actually play on a really world-class turf here in Port Moresby, so that's one advantage that they have.
And I think they're the only fortunate ones in the country to be playing on a world-class turf, so I don't think they have any reason to, perform any less than that. But anyway, the Port Moresby Hockey Association have just introduced the juniors competition as well, to make it fair to the juniors to at least, have the opportunity to try out for selections, especially for the national championships and ultimately, other bigger competitions. So giving them the opportunity the previous weekend was actually the first of its kind, because usually they just throw them in with the seniors comp and then they try, or sometimes they miss out completely, they don't even play at all. So from that competition, they brought in the juniors team into the seniors competition, which happened over the weekend, and there were some really great performances from that. So we're looking forward to see if, some of these juniors will make it into the final team that attends the championship.
Yeah, so hockey will be hosting the national championships later during the independence, independence time in September, and also they'll be sending the team to attend the Oceania Intercontinental Cup in Australia, in Rockhampton, in the Fives tournament, and we wish them all the best. They're actually preparing right now here in Port Moresby.
There you have it. Now we'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll give you some updates on rugby league.
Welcome back to the show. Now to Rugby League, and Port Moresby is preparing to host the last match of the Great Britain Lions Tour, where they'll be playing the PNG LNG Kumuls at the Oil Search National Football Stadium in November. Now, RLIF Southern Hemisphere General Manager Jeremy Edwards visited the country last week, and we were able to catch up with him for an interview and an update on the tour and what they have planned for the Kumuls next year.
The idea of the Great Britain team finishing their tour in PNG came about following the success of the 3 World Cup matches held in PNG. Great Britain will be playing 3 countries, Tonga, New Zealand, and the last match against PNG. The Great Britain team will be filled with elite players playing in the Super League and the NRL. The tour will also see the England women's team visit PNG for the first time to take on the Oil Search PNG Orchids.
And we had 3 matches up here, 3 weekends. Only venue out of Australia and New Zealand that sold out for 3 consecutive weekends. So amazing numbers and an amazing crowd. But more importantly, I think it was really the culture and the crowds and how excited everybody got involved with the game. The English women are coming. They'll actually be here for 2 games, so they arrive. Their first game's on the 9th of November, and their second one will be played as a double header to the men's on the 16th. So a very big all-English weekend here in Papua New Guinea. And I think also really interesting too is that those matches will be, especially the one on the 16th, will be broadcast into BBC. BBC's picked that feed up. So I think the population is about 70 odd million in the UK, and I think they've got a feed into about 25, 28 million households in the United Kingdom. So that gives you some idea of the scope of what this country here with rugby league can actually go to if we really push the envelope.
This is a significant time for PNG Rugby League as the Lions return to PNG after 13 years.
We have this after the World Cup with England Knights come last year, and then the Great Britain Lions still coming. That's a show of confidence and show of in respect to our country, and not only just the football playing nation, but also in general the culture and our people and the progress Papua New Guinea's had over the many number of years this time now. Great stadium, great facilities.
The tour is also part of Rugby League International Federation's work to develop rugby league in the Pacific region, hence bringing teams from the Northern Hemisphere to compete against Pacific countries.
Certainly we'd like to see, as we evolve, see more and more European teams come down this part of the world. And as you well know, the international football calendar is bookended every 4 years by the World Cup. So we've got 3 years in that cycle to play great content in the Pacific and also look at opportunities in the Northern Hemisphere.
The Oil Search National Football Stadium is anticipated to be packed on the 16th of November when the Great Britain Lions take on the PNG LNG Kumuls.
I guess any game that the Kumuls, our national team, is playing with nowadays with a lot of very good players all over Europe and also NRL and within PNG, our Hunters, top players. It obviously attracts our country back in it, and our sport has been very, very pivotal part of uniting our country.
The Rugby League Nines World Cup will be played for between 12 men's teams and 4 women's teams. The Nines World Cup adds to the excitement of rugby league in PNG, with top players from different competitions selected to compete.
It's a very exciting game, and I think the Rugby League International Nines World Cup that will be held in Sydney, that's being run by NRL, really brings some really great players, both male and female, to that event.
After the World Cup, competition dates and host of the next Nines World Cup tournament will be announced.
And deafening.
Yeah, not sure yet. It's we're still having some discussions about where that will be, but that'll fall in a cycle program. The RLIF is just about to announce a 10-year calendar.
The PNG men's Nines team has been placed in the pool of death with Australia, New Zealand and the United States, while the women will see the top 2 compete for the Women's World Cup.
Proud. And yes, we would against Australia and New Zealand and US. So, but look, we have confidence in our team, and the draft names have been prepared already, and it's going to be a combination of all our best players in that particular space, both here in England and also in PNG. So
it turns an entire nation's.
The Nines World Cup will be an enjoyable 2 days of rugby league in Australia, which begins on the 18th to the 19th of October.
It's a really good fan experience. You can go there, buy a ticket, see a number of teams play. 9-minute halves. It's sharp. It's just on it. I think that's a really exciting part of of what rugby league can bring. I think also that with the introduction of the girls, it's great in there. There's some great running, great passing, and played on a full-size pitch, which is also really exciting as well.
Pacific Rugby League, no, we love it.
The future for Pacific Rugby looks promising with the plans the Rugby League International Federation has in place for the different countries. As for PNG, interest from New Zealand to play the Kumals in PNG is still in discussion next year.
So we've got a couple of draft calendars at the moment that are being worked through, and potentially some of those could see a lot more matches back here in Port Moresby or Papua New Guinea. We already know that New Zealand are expressing interest to come up here and play the Kumals next year. We've got the Oceania Cup. We can potentially run some of those matches up here.
There are also plans to use PNG as a host for test matches between other countries and not just New Zealand and Australia.
And you might even see a Samoa versus Fiji in Papua New Guinea. So why should we just stop at always playing Papua New Guinea? Why can't we use this as a hosting hub for other matches up here? We've got a great event partner with Duco Events. We've got a lot of support with the PNG RFL. The PNG government is very supportive, and they've been very good with their support for us. And so why should we just stop? Let's start to really see where we go. 2021 we go to the World Cup in England. Both Papua New Guinea men and women's have qualified for that, which is really exciting. That'll be in the northern part of England, so I hope Michael Warham's got the boys plenty of jerseys and jumpers to keep warm. October, November in the northern part of England could be possibly not your famous weather condition place to stay at, but that's really exciting for the country. And then of course we come back and we go to 2022, 2023 and then 2024 and on from there for another World Cup after that. So a lot of excitement going on down here, and I think the landscape as you see it today with rugby league will be totally different in 5 or 6 years' time up here as well. So, and really hoping to really capture that culture, that colour, that excitement and enthusiasm that Papua New Guinea brings to rugby league.
With all these plans, the RLIF will be launching their 10-year calendar, which will have a schedule of all test matches and development plans for rugby league in the Southern Hemisphere.
With all the events that we own that can be hosted all around the world. And that'll be from World Cups to Oceania Cups. There'll be military rugby league played in that, wheelchair, women's tournaments, emerging nations, some really exciting programs. A youth program as well. I mean, you look at the infrastructure here in Port Moresby at the moment, there'd be no reason why a great rugby league country like Port Moresby, like Papua New Guinea here in Port Moresby, couldn't actually try and it couldn't host the new, what's exciting, a global youth tournament here under 19s.
Welcome back to the show. Now, before we go, Dini, this weekend we'll be having the Oil Search PNG Orchids take on the Brisbane Broncos women's NRL team at the Oil Search National Football Stadium in the second match. The first match will be between the PNG Kumals Legends and the Brisbane Broncos Legends. So I'll be down at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. If you haven't gotten a ticket yet, please go to the nearest outlets and grab yourself a ticket. You don't want to miss this two exciting matches on Saturday. And what will you be covering?
Well, for myself, the last round of matches for the Oceania Rugby Cup that will be happening this Saturday. So obviously, we've been following it. So I'll be going over to the PNG Football Stadium to see the last few matches happening now. Apart from that, a lot of local competitions happening around the city on Sunday as well. So I'll be checking out the elimination rounds for corporate softball as well.
Bills.
That's about it. But before we go, if you'd like us to cover any sporting event or like us to cover any sporting story at all, just send us an email at sports@emtv.com.pg or call us on 312-9200 and ask to speak to any of us, and we'll be more than willing to help you out.
Or you can always message us on Facebook, that's on our Sports In page, and do leave your contacts so we can get in touch with you.
Once again, thank you for watching. Dini, thanks for joining me on set. That's all we have for you tonight, and join us same time, same place next week. Good night.